Game started.
Oh, good, we got a game. Attack to fly. And let's see, he's playing e4 here. So what did I play against e4 last time? I don't think I've played a French defense here, so I'll try one. Yeah, against e4 I play the Sicilian, sometimes I play e5, and sometimes I play the French defense, and then I've also been experimenting with the Scandinavian, but I haven't done one of those. Okay, so f4, that's an unusual response to the French defense, probably a book line somewhere. Let's see, you know, I could go into a kind of Sicilian if I wanted to, but I think I'll stay on French lines here. e6, d5 is the idea. So he's got sort of an advanced French. Play c5, taking over these squares, and then I'm going to try and undermine the strong point at e5. So my idea is just knight to... this is interesting. So if I take right away, he can take with the queen, and then there'll be a hole there, and I can use that to harass the queen later. Now, a lot of times people will follow up, assuming he takes with the queen, a lot of times people will follow up with knight to c6 here, attacking the queen, but the bishop can come out and pin it, and that's kind of an uncomfortable pin. So I'm just going to prevent the pin first, and then I'm going to play knight c3. This is actually, there's a position in the Sicilian that's similar to this that I've played before, and that's, in that position, a6 is the move before knight c6. So I'm going by analogy. I haven't been in this position before, so I don't know exactly for sure that that's the right move, but feels right. So now he's got to reposition his queen, and I have to think about what I'm doing here. Now I could try moving my knight to e7 and then to f5, and I would have two pieces on this square. One of the best squares for my knight is really this square on e4 here. Let's see. Okay, so he's got his queen on this diagonal, and his knight can come into g4 at some time. So I was wondering how to get to e4, probably through this square on c4. I've sort of prevented that from happening, huh? The way to do it would have been to come here with the knight, then to here, then to here, and then to there. So don't see any other way to get there. So I'm just going to play knight e7. And the knight can go either to g3 or f4, depending. Let's see, other tactics. I always have this queen check here. Keep in mind, not doing anything at the moment. And he's positioned his queen where it blocks his own bishop. And his pawn here is blocking the other bishop. But his has the idea of pushing to f5 at some point. Yeah, he gets that bishop out. So I think knight f5 here is an interesting idea. I mean, it threatens to trade that bishop, which maybe is not the best bishop in the world, but might help my case. Okay, so he just moves it out of the way, and now there is a threat of him just playing g4 and trapping my knight. For example, if I were to play my bishop to e7 here casually, then after g4 the knight has no squares. I'm going to play this way. I'm going to play g6 and maybe h5. And the idea is to stop that move. The other idea is to give the knight a hidey hole here. The thing is, yeah, this bishop didn't have any other squares to go to either, so space is at a premium in this position. So let's move the bishop up to the square I prepared for it, and then think about playing h5, see if that helps free up my position a little bit. And what are White's plans? White's plan is to undermine the center, it looks like, with that move c4. So that's interesting, but is it a threat? Is c4 a threat? He can take or he can push. I'm going to go ahead with h4. I don't think c4 is really a threat. It might leave me with this isolated d pawn, I guess. That's maybe a weakness. And he's going to do that. Now, I can't afford to sack. I can't just move the knight away because he's going to push the pawn, and that would be a very strong formation, so I have to take. But now I can think about taking here on g4. Neither side is castled here. His king is still exposed on this diagonal to a check, but he can block with b4. I could take with my knight on b4 if he does that too. So I can get a check in. For what it's worth. Any other tactics? Can I sack on these pawns? Don't know. So if he takes on h here, yeah, if he takes there, do I want to take with the rook or the knight? Let's take with the knight, and I'm putting some pressure on the f-pawn here. Yeah, so neither side is castled, and it looks like neither side really wants to castle. I've left this square open for the bishop to occupy too, since the knight went to h4 instead of f4. I mean h5 instead of f5, so I can play bishop f5 at some time maybe. Let's see. Hey, our times are about even. And Tactifly from the US. Our ratings are about even too, huh? Okay, he defends f4. What have I got? He also defends against the check. Not sure where my queen wants to go. Or the bishop. Let's see. Let's, for now, just blockade this f-pawn and maybe think about going to e4. It looks like a nice square for that bishop. And leave the mystery of the queen to some other point. Yeah, so if he does that, can I push the pawn? Do I even want that pawn? What is it but a pawn? If I push the pawn, he can take with the knight or the bishop, and I get to trade one of them off. See, I'm still not threatening to take on f5, f4. And if I defend with my bishop here on e5, he can trade. That's kind of interesting. The pawn there is weak, and I'll probably lose it, but on the other hand, I may pick up this f-pawn. He's going to have to move the knight somewhere. I can trade off queens, or he can trade queens. This may just be losing a pawn. We'll see. But what I'm thinking is knight takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, knight moves. And but if he exchanges queens first, if the knight moves first, then I can take the queen and then grab on f4. But if he takes my queen first, I take back with the rook. And then he can move his knight. I still get to take a pawn, I think. So attack to fly is considering his options. So he lets my bishop stay there. Okay. Well, could play f6 to try and undermine the center. But that would leave me pretty weak over here on the king side. Let's see, I want to distract that queen somehow. How can I do that? How about knight? Where can this knight go? Knight, bishop, rook. Maybe just do something normal like develop a rook. Much as that goes against the grain here. Maybe queen to d7 and then out to one of these diagonals would be useful. Yeah, queen d7 f4 would put, queen d7 f5 would put pressure on f4. And the queen can't too easily be harassed there, can it? Ah, but I would be dropping this pawn here. Well, sometimes you want to make a move that's not too controversial and let your opponent think for a while and try and come up with a plan. You always have to make sure that none of his takes and captures and threats work, though, before you do that. So he's just going to castle. Oh, cool. So, so now the idea maybe of queen d7 and also carries with it the concept of queen g4 check, which might be uncomfortable. It also solves the problem of de-hanging pawn here. But now he's going to trade queens. Is that what he's going to do? I thought in this line I just get the pawn back.
Check.
But he gets a check with his rook if he wants it. Yeah, see, his knight is hanging and this pawn is hanging. So he can check me. And but unless he can do something really great with that knight, he's going to lose this f-pawn. And I think my king is going to be safe over here with the queens off, and I have all my pieces around it in the center. I think I'm okay here. You never know. You might come up with some cool tactic, so stay tuned. So yeah, knight to f4 and then to h6 is an interesting idea. If he checks my king, I might move my king over to c7. It's kind of a weird idea, but it keeps the rooks connected. Ah, he just moves the knight right away. Okay, so now the knight can go to this pawn. Yeah, I take this pawn, he takes this pawn, and he's threatening a rook. So knight takes, rook moves. Maybe rook here. And then where does the knight go from this square? He's hitting all these dark squares. This one looks good, but in a lot of these squares I can just trade the knight off. It's okay, so knight here. Does he have any other idea? Some diabolical check? I guess the check would drive me to this square defending a pawn, so not such a great move. Also, I'm attacking his bishop here. I'm attacking his bishop, and I have the idea of knight h6 check if the knight moves away. So where is his light squared bishop going, or is he just going to defend it? Here, not
Check.
so good. Oh, he has a check. What have I got? I think just king back here. Ah, I'm sorry. I didn't notice. Got to pay attention to these things. He has the skewer. The skewer. That was good. Okay, so Tactifly is living up to his name. Let's see. I could give up the exchange here. If I defend with my knight, and then he's got the check. And when I move my king out of the way, he can take on this square and win at least a pawn, and maybe more, because he's going to end up with the bishop there, or the knight, depending on how he takes. And it's going to be threatening stuff. And I'll have pawns here and here, and he'll have pawns there and there. That advanced pawn might be a problem. So if I step aside, he takes, I take. He can grab that, though. I think I have to defend. Okay, so his e-pawn is hanging, too. Let's see where we go from here. I don't know if he gets more than a pawn back. Yeah, he goes there first. Now, after I move, I guess I want to defend this pawn here. So I want to stay in the center. I can take with either the knight or the bishop. If he takes with the bishop, it's hitting the rook. I take, and then he ends up with the knight there, threatening all these dark squares. Or he can take with the knight first and then come in with the bishop, threatening the rook again. So rook e1 is probably, rook d8 is probably the move after all those exchanges. Or if he's going to take with the knight, then I can just grab a pawn here, be a pawn up. So what does he have? What's his great threat here? That is a check, that is a check. Can hit these squares. Then bishop can come out to this square. And I think it's good for me to get my knight here closer to his king. I'm threatening knight to f3 check. And this check doesn't win material. I can just move my king to f7, for example, if he plays knight g7 check. If he plays the other check, I can take it. And anyway, this move knight to f6 check looks pretty dangerous to me. It's double attacking the pawn over here on h2. Knight f3 check, pawn on h2. And this rook can come down to the second rank as well. Make threats against his king. So I'm optimistic. If I don't get mated, it's a good position. And I am a pawn up, but it seems it's probably a pawn that may not be too stable. Might fall under a concerted attack. So now, hey, I have a time advantage. Usually I'm running behind on time by this point. But he's stopping to think. That's good. Yeah, I want you to think.
Check.
Yeah, he went there. So from this square, the knight has these light squares, which are mostly covered. So I don't see... that was the idea. Hey, this guy is good. This guy is good. So I get the knight. He gets the knight with check. I get out of the way. And I could play another way. I could put my bishop here. Now that doesn't work. Okay, I'm in check, and my only possible moves are here, which would lose the knight. or take the knight, trade, get out of the way, he takes there, I take, and I'm just down the exchange. Good for him. Yeah, oh. But this knight is not pinned. So I can play here with check. Blocks the check and checks his king.
Check.
I knew there was a reason why I like this knight. Yeah. Getting confused between all the pins and attacks, but this does two things. It blocks the check, and it checks his king. And material's still even. When this guy moves, it's going to be a discovered attack on my rook. But unless he's moving with a big threat,
check,
then I should be okay. So here I'm the exchange up. And there's no checks in this position. That's nice. The rook can't check me. The bishop can't check me. He's threatening to check me, which is a good thing to do. I can simply defend that pawn with my rook. So I would like to avoid checks. And the nice thing is the pawn covers this square, so the king can't chase my rook away. Bishop can't chase it away because it's on the wrong color. And my idea is to play bishop to f6 here, forking his bishop and knight and forcing another exchange. And then it'll be two rooks against rook and knight, and with an extra pawn I should be winning. Simplification is your friend in these situations. Just have to make sure you don't simplify too far and end up in a drawn ending. But I'm going to see if he comes up with anything. Looks like he's going to forfeit on time in a bit. He's got, well, we get 5 seconds each move, so if he moves quickly, yeah, he can still play it. So can I play bishop f6 here? There's still no checks. And it looks like that will at least force a trade. After the exchange, his knight has a check here. His rook has a check there. But none of those seemed particularly fatal. I just have to make sure I don't walk into some check that's really nasty. So if I go here, he's got a check with his rook. And then go there. I think he runs out of checks. I want to get my king up the board anyway because I want to get down.
Check.
And help this pawn become a queen. So he's got to run back with his rook because otherwise I'm coming in here with check. Yep. Like this. Then I can get to the 7th rank and threaten this check. And he's going to let me play it. So I go here, check. His king has to move. And I can take his rook.
Check. White resigns.
Yep. Okay, good game. And I'm going to post a post-mortem video shortly, so stay tuned and see you guys later. Bye.